The question is, why was there no report on the work done of the commission? And how is this new committee different from the commission that was initially established back in 2022?
The commission was constituted. It was large in numbers, too large, in my own perception, is to arrive at any consensus.
Listen, but the first commission, Mr. Minister, was tasked with that mandate. And so I'm going to bring back Mr. Clouden here. And so the question I asked was, what happened with that first commission, the work of that first commission?
I think the first commission, as
yes, sir.
Mr. Clouden was explaining, the first commission had its own constraints. Good? It was extremely large. I think there were around 16 of them. And it was difficult to have 16 of them to come together to meet at any point in time. So that's one. Okay. Secondly, even if they were to come together, 16 differing views being expressed can in fact create a problem for synergies and for harmonizations and for decision making.
You know what cross-examination is all about, sir. And of course, you saw a lot of those clips there. But on the heels of the 2022 election, the newly installed administration announced the establishment of a cannabis commission in which members were expected to hold broad-based consultations and engage in public awareness on legalizing cannabis and to prepare a final report with advice on the design of a new legislative and regulatory framework to legalize cannabis for its production and sale. I'm quoting now from the release that was published then. Now, one of the remits of that commission was to present a report on your findings. Now, Mr. Clouden, Rolanda McQueen, who was part of that first commission, apparently she's no longer part of it. We didn't hear any report. There were, to my knowledge, there were no findings or commission done. No findings of the work of the commission done and presented to the Grenadian people until Minister Lennox Andrews announced this new committee. Now, the question is, why was there no report on the work done of the commission? And how is this new committee different from the commission that was initially established back in 2022?
The commission was constituted. It was large in numbers, too large, in my own perception, is to arrive at any consensus in a general context. However, I must say that we were able to submit to the appropriate authorities an amended, what we call the Drug Prevention and Control Amendment Bill. And that bill sought to, as it were, amend the Principal Act, which is the Drug Prevention and Control Act, as is well known, a draconian piece of legislation that penalize persons found with limited quantities of ganja, marijuana, cannabis, whichever. And you were subject to very, very severe penalties, irrespective of the quantity. As a matter of fact, the Section 6 of that act, we had suggested that it be repealed to bring immediate relief to young people who were being saddled with criminal records for very simple possession, 2 or 3 marijuana cigarettes.
As a government policy is, in fact, geared towards declassifying marijuana, and of course, the declassification has its components. But I want to say to you that it has to be done in a structured and in an orderly manner, in which the population gets involved and the population is fully aware of what is happening, so that in the end, that negative image that you referred to on the cannabis, that negative image can in fact go away, and the positive benefits of marijuana can in fact seen. Now, we are approaching the declassification at 2 levels. The first level has to do with decriminalization and of course amnesty. And I think you understand what that means. And the second one will be the legislation for the time being for medicinal purposes. Now we have given our committee, our present 6-man committee, we have given them specific directives and specific activities to be fulfilled by September. And so far, and Mr. Claude can expand, so far they have been working on achieving, if I could say, meeting their deadlines to, by the end of September, present a final report to the government for its consideration on how we're going to move the industry forward. So we want to do it in an orderly and in a structured manner. We want to get the whole nation involved in it, and therefore it will take a little time. It's not an overnight instant coffee approach that we are taking to it. So I just want to make that point.
Yes, and that's an important point in respect of incrementalism. But the first commission, Mr. Minister, was tasked with that mandate. And so I'm going to bring back Mr. Claude here. And so the question I asked was, what happened with that first commission, the work of that first commission?
I think the first commission,
yes, sir.
Mr. Claude was explaining, the first commission had its own constraints. Good? It was extremely large. I think there were around 16 of them. And it was difficult to have 16 of them to come together to meet at any point in time. So that's one. Okay. Secondly, even if they were to come together, 16 differing views being expressed can in fact create a problem for synergies and for harmonizations and for decision making. Yeah. So we thought, therefore, that a better approach would have been to try and keep the commission as small as possible, which would allow for easier to meet and for harmony and easier harmonization of decision making. And more than that, we would have provided that new commission with some specifics, very specifics that they have to get done with deadlines. Okay, so that they can now work towards achieving that, as against letting it open to them without any specific timeline. They don't have timelines to work with, and I think that's the difference between what existed before and what we have now.
Well, Dr. Baba,
yes, Mr. Cloud, I need you to jump in here as counsel. Yes, sir.
I think the minister has eloquently expressed the reason for the inertia, as it were, in the last commission. I think he has.
Or the lack of effective implementation. I know Mr. Andrews loves to cite those numbers in respect of implementation. So I don't know that the implementation rate here was a successful rate. But Mr. Cloud, over to you, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, Dr. Bob. As I have said, I think the minister is right. There were systemic problems with that commission. Largely due to its size and the difficulty in getting consensus. We were able only to come up with the recommended bill to amend the Principal Act, and even that haven't gone into implementation yet. But we are working now. This committee is much smaller. We are working indefatigably to meet our targeted goals. And I have no doubt whatsoever that we would have a decriminalized framework within the legislative authority, certainly by July, for the necessary amendments.
The overarching attitude, if you were to phrase it that way in Grenada right now, from most of the people interested in what's happening in the cannabis industry, is an attitude of confusion, disappointment, almost disillusionment, based on what was said by many of the leaders of the two parties, the decisions that was made by both parties. It behooves us as to why something hasn't been done. And I will put this out there and you will take it further with the panelists on here as well. One of the simplest things that could be done in reference to the cannabis problem in Grenada, that will allow space, time, and the room to create a robust, well-rounded, well-intended cannabis regime in terms of from the legal framework would be to reclassify cannabis in Grenada. A simple decision is reclassifying, just like America is about to do right now in terms of rescheduling from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 substance. If and when we were to reclassify cannabis in Grenada, that would not take a lot of work. It doesn't take a committee to get that done. Once that is done, that will free up law enforcement and the public, as Brother Clouden was saying, in terms of if you wanted to explore or exploit certain things of this plant, we have to get started. To get started, the law needs to change. Hence the confusion and the disillusionment, because everyone from both parties have said they want this done. And what we're seeing is that the things that can be done, the decisions that can be made to get these things done really easily and effectively, are not being done. And one of those things is something as simple as just reclassifying the plant so that it's taken from the schedule that it's at right now and put into a place where people can explore and exploit, whether they want to do seed banks, as was mentioned earlier, or even dispensaries.
Hi everyone, thanks for checking out the Bud Report's social media pages. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch our weekly live show, follow our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can catch repeat episodes on Wednesdays at 4 and 5 p.m. respectively on CRFM Radio and GBN TV in Grenada. We are also viewed on Sundays at 8 p.m. on WPG 10 throughout the Caribbean. Thanks for watching.